changing your life one story at a time. This is the Chicken Soup for the Soul podcast with Editor-in-Chief Amy Newmark.
Hey, it's Amy Newmark with some instant inspiration from Chicken Soup for the Soul. I want to talk today about what you can do if you are impossibly busy and you are, 1, starting to resent all the things that you have to do, and 2, feeling that somehow you have lost your own identity in the relentless press of everything that is on your schedule. I'm going to talk about a couple of stories from a book called Chicken Soup for the Soul, The Multitasking Mom's Survival Guide. And yes, we wrote that book for busy moms, but it really contains lessons and advice for any busy person at any stage of life. At the end of the podcast, I'll tell you how you can win a free signed copy of the book. So our first story is from Gina Lee Guilford. She became a stepmother to 3 little girls, and she went from a single life to a very busy life as a mom overnight. And Gina confesses that some days she feels the way that most mothers feel, overwhelmed, and she says she's ready to ditch her sensible SUV at the airport and just hop on a plane to Bora Bora. She fantasizes about spending her days alone, lying on the beach, doing absolutely nothing. Other days she dreams of driving across the country in a convertible, again, free of any responsibilities or chores or errands. She wouldn't have to get the laundry done or clean the house or fill out forms or plan birthdays or do any of the other 100 things she does every day. And she looks at obviously single, childless young women and she imagines the life they must have, full of parties and going out and no one asking what's for dinner. But then Gina stops and she remembers what life was like before marriage and kids. And she remembers that it was rather lonely. Even when it did include parties and going out, there was something missing, and what she wanted more than anything was someone to love and care for. So on the days when the house is a mess and the girls are fighting, and Gina wonders if anyone sees her as a real person anymore, she stops and she reminds herself that this is exactly what she signed up for. And then she realizes she is exactly where she wants to be. Now, I use this technique myself all the time when I'm feeling overwhelmed by all of my work at Chicken Soup for the Soul, plus my work at home, plus all the other things I have to do in my family. I remind myself that this is what I signed up for. Would I give any of it up? No. Then I should stop feeling sorry for myself. Just buckle down and get it done. Sometimes you really can get so busy, however, that you lose sight of who you are. Randy Mazzella describes a rather dramatic example of that happening to her in our same book from Multitasking Moms. Randy says that several years ago, a friend gave her a birthday present. It was a necklace that had a small charm with the initial R on it. The necklace was very similar to another one that Randy had, with 3 initials hanging from it, an A, a J, and another J, which were the initials of Randy's 3 children. But Randy looked at this new necklace with the letter R hanging from it and thought, why would I wear an R? Why would I wear that? And then she realized she was truly losing her own identity. In fact, in recent months, she had been introducing herself to people as Jenny's mom or Ellie's mom and forgetting to use her own name. One of the other mothers had actually looked at her and said, "And do you have a name?" Randy's sister-in-law had called her a few days before and had asked, "What's going on with you?" And Randy had proceeded to talk for 5 minutes about how her son loved his basketball team and how her daughter was taking an SAT prep course, and she talked about her other daughter's recent track meet. And when she finished, her sister-in-law said, "So is there anything going on with you?" At first, Randy didn't understand why she was asking that. Hadn't she just told her what was going on with her? But then she realized that she hadn't said anything about herself. It was all about the kids. Randy had a very successful career before she became a mother. She traveled all over the world. But now the kids were her world. And she realized she was just living in their world instead of having her own. Receiving that necklace with the R on it, having the other mothers pointedly ask her what her name was, and having that conversation with her sister-in-law opened Randy's eyes. It was time for her to put on that R necklace and figure out who she was, who Randy was besides being a mother. So she joined a spin studio. She started doing more volunteer work. She made a monthly date to go out to the movies. And she took a writing class online and started getting published. She started to make her own world again. Randy says, now when I introduce myself, I say, hi, my name is Randy, and it feels good to be me. So that's it for the multitasking people out there. Remind yourself that you're this busy because you signed up for this and you like what you do, but just don't lose yourself in it either. If you want to learn more about this book, Chicken Soup for the Soul, the Multitasking Mom Survival Guide, visit our website, chickensoup.com, and click on the podcast button. You'll see all the books that are featured on this week's podcasts, and you can click on their covers, and you'll find some great tips that I wrote based on what I learned from the Multitasking Mom Survival Guide. And if you want to win a free signed copy of the Multitasking Mom Survival Guide, follow me on Twitter. My handle is Amy Newmark, and then retweet one of my tweets about this podcast by the end of the day on August 8th. I'll pick 5 people at random who have retweeted, and I'll let you know if you're one of them, and then you'll send your address to our webmaster. I'll sign a book to you, and we'll send it off to you or anyone you choose anywhere in the United States. I'm Amy Newmark. Thanks for listening today. Come back for the next episode of the Chicken Soup for the Soul podcast on Wednesday. I'm going to share a couple of stories with you about cats who turned out to be way more than pets. They turned out to be natural therapists.